This is Sutek. The ability of my teammates to find ways to actually throw away a winning hand is incredible. Here we are on a highway. I was driving my Burt. It's a pretty near-run match. Unfortunately, my teammates could not provide me the protection I needed. I was too far forward and I was killed, and there's nothing new there. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. As I indicated in previous videos, my Sencha, though, consists of 3 ideas. One, agility, another is aggression, and the last is awareness. This game is a prime example of a total lack of awareness of the situation and what you're confronted with. Both teams are basically beating the hell out of each other, and as you can see, it's a pretty close match. We're already 4 minutes in, half of each side has been destroyed, we're down to our last few tanks. As you'll notice from the TAC map, we have found ourselves engaged in a fight up to the west, and we also have been able to take the town. So we're in a good position, and we have tanks in position to go to the cap, which is what you should be doing. And I apologize for staying on this particular view, only because I didn't expect what was going to happen next. So here we are. We've got a couple of tanks in the E1 area, engaging a couple of enemy tanks. We have a tank in the middle in the G5. We have a fight going on in the town, and we have one heavy rushing the cap. So finally I said, hey, look, we're really close to this. All we need to do is get a winning hand, get into the cap. We've got this. It's even score. All they have is an RD, a TD, one heavy, and a medium. Well, the medium is right on the other side of this silo. The AT is trying to maneuver. Of course, he unfortunately doesn't really think about what it is that he's doing, but that's all right. I understand what he was trying to do. He couldn't get around in time. He loses to that Tiger P, or excuse me, that VK36P. So he's going to head off to cap. It's pretty clear. I see that we have 2 tanks near the cap. I touch on the cap. I say, hey, that's where you need to go. We're outnumbered 3-2. The heavy tank, which had been driving forward, immediately launches in. And you'll notice that we have a second heavy approaching at C7. And now, of course, he's mic'd up and he's talking his head off. Oh, look, there's a TD by the river. So, as a good player should, that Tiger stops and attempts to engage the TD. Now, the enemy has 1 in the cap, and we have 1 in the cap. We're ahead on the count. We know that there's 1 unaccounted for tank, which is the heavy, which we assume is going to be heading toward our cap. So all this Tiger has to do, this hammer, is just drive off the E25 and get back into the cap. In fact, somebody's already suggested that. He backs up, he waits, loses sight, and then he proceeds to sit there. And he proceeds to sit there. Now, as you can see, he's only 1 grid square away from the cap, and we are ahead on the count, but all he needs to do is back up to be sure that we can finish this. We are so close. The guy who's speaking now, the one who's in the cap, is telling him, pull back, get into the cap. No, says the hammer. And he sits there. Now the enemy have 2 in the cap. All he has to do is pull back even a few more seconds, and all he has to do is pull back and we win this. Too late. And he sits there, and he's talking. I'll pull back a little, and stops. No, he moves ahead. And we lose it. We lose the effing match because he could not pull back. That is probably the most incredibly bad bit of tanking I've ever seen. So, back to my garage. Anyway, lesson learned. There's more than one way to fuck up a game, and that boy did it.